Sources. We usually only consider our financial assets as sources, but there are other valuable sources that need to be managed in order to achieve happiness in life. These life sources include health, wealth, skills, time. In this part of the book, we will look at the various ways in which we can manage these sources to lead a balanced life. Health. When it comes to sources, health should be our top priority because a balanced daily life is highly dependent on a healthy body and mind. If we want to earn success in any area of our life, we need to be physically and mentally healthy in order to give our best shot. Health can have a further 5 aspects. 1. Physical health. It is true that being happy makes you healthier, but the opposite holds true as well. Being healthy makes us happy. When we adopt a healthy lifestyle, our mind feels fresh and we feel good about ourselves. Physical health does not only revolve around exercise and meditation. Our diet also plays a huge part in the maintenance of health. The following few changes in our lifestyle can improve our physical well-being. Eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Today we are often deprived and distanced from the true gifts of nature. We tend to resort to fast food and junk when it comes to choosing our meals. Most of us would prefer a burger and a large bucket of fries over a full plate of fresh fruits and vegetables. It is an age-old saying that we become what we eat. Unfortunately, it is true that eating unhealthy meals only leads to poor health. A study demonstrating the importance of a healthy diet showed that 47% of the participants with healthy bodies consumed fresh fruits and vegetables. The first step towards health and fitness is cutting out the unhealthy foods. A recent study by Harvard has shown that intake of a diet rich in vegetables and fruits lowers the risk of heart diseases. Research also shows that including fruits and vegetables in meal plans lowers the risk of several major health risks such as blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, and gastrointestinal diseases. It is important that we incorporate different kinds of fruits and vegetables in our diet, as not a single type can provide all the nutrition and benefits. For instance, carrots are good for preserving vision while berries lower the risk of type 2 diabetes. Exercise regularly. Regular exercise can have the following advantages: weight control and reducing risk of diseases. Exercise is helpful in maintaining an ideal BMI, body mass index. Being overweight or underweight not only causes self-esteem issues. If ignored for long, it can cause serious health issues. Aerobic exercises are beneficial for keeping our cardiovascular system healthy. Consequently, it reduces the risk of heart diseases by lowering blood pressure and triglyceride levels. Improves mental performance. The insights shared by John Ratey in his book Spark show that the proverb "a healthy mind lives in a healthy body" is absolutely true. In light of the evidence, Ratey shared that regular exercise improves the functioning of the brain. It accelerates learning and enhances creativity. When we exercise, our brain releases a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which accelerates the growth of brain cells and in turn increases the ability to learn. The most effective exercise for increasing mental performance is aerobic exercise. Aerobic exercises include running, brisk walking, swimming, and biking, etc. It is also known as cardio. Improves mood. If you're feeling down, then exercise and a little physical activity can help in lifting up the mood. As discussed earlier, exercising causes the release of various chemicals that have a positive impact on our overall mood. Regular exercise tones a body, which ultimately helps in boosting self-esteem and confidence. Promotes better sleep. Most of the people usually face trouble sleeping on time because of the messed up schedule due to various distractions such as television and social media. Physical exertion during the day helps us in sleeping better at night. We should not exercise way too close to bedtime because it can leave us feeling too energized to sleep. Studies have shown that people who exercise regularly usually sleep better at night and feel energized during the day. Exercise to socialize. Exercise can be the best way to explore outdoors and make new friends, as exercising in fresh air is often advised. Going to a park can help you in reaping the benefits of running as well as meeting new people. Even if someone goes to gym every day, they can make new gym buddies. These interactions might give you the motivation to stay regular. Get a good night's sleep. A proper sleep pattern is crucial for our physical health. The duration and conditions of our sleep determine what we are going to feel throughout the day. Matthew Walker, in his book Why We Sleep, discusses 3 different types of sleep and why 7-9 hours of sleep are advisable. According to him, there are following 3 types of sleep. Deep sleep. The first 2 hours of our regular sleep schedule count as deep sleep. During the day, information like dates, names, or definitions is stored temporarily in our hippocampus. This information is transferred to the permanent storage of our brain during the first 2 hours of our sleep. Sometimes when we make the decision of staying up late and giving up on the first 2 hours of our regular sleep schedule, our mind loses that temporary information. It results in a weak memory, light sleep. After 16 hours of staying awake, our hippocampus gets filled with temporary information. Have you ever noticed that after a certain time your brain stops comprehending even the simplest of information? It occurs because of a full hippocampus. The temporary information gets transferred to permanent locations at the beginning of our sleep. On the other hand, our hippocampus is emptied during the last hours of our sleep, which is known as light sleep. That is why waking up early to study can prove to be counterproductive. REM sleep. It is the type of sleep in which we have dreams. REM sleep helps us in making sense of what happened during the day. It helps in making connections. The connections might often seem bizarre, but they can help us in understanding our situations better. Dreams often help us in transitioning from despondency to hope. In this way, they prove to be helpful in coping with hard situations such as divorce or a failure. Ways to improve your sleep schedule. An improper sleeping schedule is destructive for our physical as well as mental health. The following few tips can prove to be beneficial in maintaining a proper sleep schedule. Decide a time. Sticking to our body's natural sleep-wake cycle is one of the basic strategies for having a regular sleeping schedule. If we want to set up our body's internal clock, we have to sleep and wake up at the same time every day. Even if we sleep for the same hours but at different times, we would feel less energized and fresh. For many people, their weekend and weekdays sleep schedules differ, which is not an ideal habit. Following the same schedule for every day of the week is essential. Do you feel drowsy after having a meal that urges you to take a nap immediately? Ditch the idea and do something mildly stimulating. Sleeping before our bedtime is one of the worst things that we can do to our sleep schedule. Having a short nap a little before bedtime can result in tossing and turning with insomnia at night. Control exposure to light before bedtime. The 2 pillars of a good night's sleep, as shared by Matthew Walker, include the exposure to light. Melatonin is a chemical that the brain produces. It pushes us to go to sleep. When we are exposed to blue light, it suppresses the release of this chemical, which in turn disturbs our sleep cycle. A study has shown that reading an iPad book suppressed the release of melatonin 50% more than the act of reading a printed book. Exposure to any sort of light just before sleep time can cause a decrease in the production of melatonin. It is advised to stay away from bright screens and bright lights an hour or 2 hours before the bedtime. A study found that even a bedside lamp with 1–2% as much brightness as the daylight can cause nearly 50% decrease in the production of melatonin. Keep the temperature low. Our body temperature needs to drop 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit for initiating sleep. It is not easy to drop our body temperature while our house is at room temperature. We can either drop our room temperature by adjusting the thermostat. Taking a hot shower before bed is also beneficial in dropping the temperature, as it transfers the core temperature to the surface of the body, which then dissipates into the atmosphere. When our core temperature drops, initiation of sleep becomes easy. Eat smartly. Eating habits have a major role to play in our sleep schedule. Nicotine and caffeine can cause disruption in our sleeping pattern up to 10 and 12 hours of intake. It is advised to avoid big meals at night, as they can cause indigestion and acid reflux issues, in turn disturbing our sleep. Research shows that eating a lot of carbs and sugary foods can cause sleeplessness during the night. Clear your head. We often go to sleep while worrying about things going on in our life, e.g., an exam, an issue at the workplace, etc. Worrying and anxiety can cause wakefulness, which delays our sleep and disrupts our sleeping schedule. Prioritizing sleep is important, so it is advisable to have a bedtime relaxing ritual. Such a practice can clear our head before we go to sleep. Reduce the background noise. The environment that we sleep in plays a very major role in deciding the duration and quality of sleep. It is not only difficult to fall asleep in a noisy place, it also disrupts the quality of the sleep. When we sleep in a noisy room, We keep on waking up, and such sleep does not energize us. In order to sleep well, we should create a quiet environment. Just like it is recommended to minimize the exposure to light, it is necessary to avoid exposure to sound. Different sounds keep us distracted. We need to lower the background noise and relax. While a quiet environment is recommended to sleep, soothing music can also help in relaxing. Take a balanced fluid intake. Half of the people wake up while sleeping because they feel thirsty. The other half wakes up because they drank too much water before going to bed, and hence, they feel the need to go to the bathroom. We should balance our fluid intake in order to have an uninterrupted good night's sleep. There should be more water intake at the start of the day and less as we're getting ready to go to bed. Exercises to sleep. To fall asleep, the relaxation response of our body needs to be activated. Breathing exercise involves breathing from our belly rather than from our chest, so it lowers our heart rate, blood pressure, and stress level, thus helping us in drifting to sleep. Breathing exercise. Breathing exercise involves the following few simple steps. Lie down and close your eyes. Put one hand on the stomach and the other on chest. Breathe in through your nose so that the hand on your stomach rises, while the hand on the stomach should move very little. The next step is to exhale through the mouth while contracting your abdominal muscles. Keep repeating it while counting every time you exhale. Body scan exercise. This exercise helps in identifying the parts of the body where we are holding any sort of stress or tension. It helps in activating the relaxation response and thus initiates sleep. Lie on your back straight and close your eyes. Relax your arms and keep your legs uncrossed. For the first 2 minutes, focus on your breathing so that you begin to feel relaxed and your wandering focus is brought to a single point. Shift your focus to the toes of your right foot. Identify any tension if there. While still focusing on the breathing, remain focused for a few seconds. Turn your focus to the sole of your right foot and check for any stress or tension that you feel there. Then move your focus to all your major body parts to release any tension that is being held. It will help in relaxing your mind as well as your body, which is helpful in initiating sleep. 2. Mental health. Mental health influences how we think, feel, and respond to situations in our daily life. Our mental health not only impacts us, but it also can greatly affect the people around us. The way we perceive ourselves and others is highly dependent on our mental condition. If our mind is usually filled with negative self-talk, then we begin to see everything else in a negative light. It can cost us good friendships and relationships. Most of all, it costs us our mental peace. The secret to a happy life is keeping our mental health in check. It does not mean to have a life free of depression, anxiety, or stress. Rather, stable mental health requires us to deal with these feelings and situations with an open mind. It involves becoming more aware of our emotional state and dealing with it in a positive way. Often, we let ourselves slip into a negative spiral where we start reaffirming everything negative. A positive outlook requires us to push ourselves out of the spiral by thinking about the good things in our life. A sound mental health and resilience. Problems are a part of life and no one can run away from them. What differentiates between happy and unhappy people is the way in which they perceive problems in their life. If we are mentally and emotionally resilient, it shows in all areas of our life. If we have the courage to face our emotions and cope with them, we learn to tackle challenges in all streams of life. Consequently, a positive outlook is a sign of an open mindset which is ready to open up to new challenges and struggles in life. While pessimism is a waste of time, optimism and resilience are the keys to a successful and happy life. Do not ignore mental health issues. It is a common problem that most people ignore their mental health issues. We tend to ignore the red flags and keep on doing it until their effect becomes huge. When the initial signs of issues such as depression or anxiety begin to appear, people are most likely to neglect them rather than coping with them in a positive manner. Some people try to tackle these issues with drugs and other addictive substances to numb their feelings and thoughts temporarily. Such temporary solutions lead to an eternal problem. No situation can improve on its own, and there is always effort needed to turn things in our favor. If we want to succeed in our personal and professional life, the initial step is to embrace our feelings and emotions. Only after accepting the issues and acknowledging the emotional messages, we can try to change how things are. Ways to improve mental health. Mental well-being is dependent on everything that we do during the day. There are various ways to improve our mental health. These include different physical, emotional, and social activities. Exercise. While it might seem unrealistic to think of exercise as a solution to everything, yet regular physical activity can do wonders. It can improve our physical as well as emotional health. It does not always have to be extreme exercises such as heavy weightlifting and fast-track jogging. It can also include a little walk in the park after a meal. Studies have shown that exercise releases a chemical known as endorphin in the brain. While there is still debate about the real function of endorphin, it is believed that it reduces stress, relieves pain, and strengthens the immune system. The energized feeling after physical activity can be attributed to the release of endorphins. Endorphin is not particularly released during strenuous physical activity. It is also released by a light exercise, massage therapy, or meditation. Tips to start an exercise routine. We can begin by including at least a 30-minute physical activity in your schedule. Rhythmic exercise engages both our legs and arms, such as running, walking, swimming, dancing, etc. You can start with a light walk. Incorporating mindfulness elements in our workouts can help us in relaxing. It will require us to focus on our movements instead of focusing on our thoughts. For instance, directing focus to our breathing or the feeling of our foot hitting the ground. Meditate. Meditation is helpful in becoming mentally strong by reducing stress and making us emotionally aware. It is not only beneficial for our mental health, but evidence shows that it also improves physical health by boosting the immune system and lowering the blood pressure. Following are the few ways in which meditation can improve our mental health. Stress reduction. When we are mentally or physically stressed, our body releases a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is responsible for the harmful effects of stress such as disruption of sleep, increase in blood pressure, depression, and anxiety. Evidence from an 8-week study including over 35,000 adults showed that mindfulness meditation resulted in a reduction in the inflammatory response caused by stress and release of cortisol. Anxiety control. Once we begin to manage stress, it also controls our anxiety. In the 8-week study, it was observed that participants showed less to no symptoms of anxiety disorders by the end. These symptoms usually include phobias, paranoid thoughts, social anxiety, panic attacks, and obsessive-compulsive disorders. Meditation has proved to be advantageous in reduction of stress and anxiety in both private and workspaces. Self-awareness. Meditation involves bringing our scattered focus to a single pointed focus, and hence, it enables better engagement with our thoughts and feelings. Once we become more self-aware of our thoughts and habits, it can lead to more constructive patterns. In a study of 40 men, a mindfulness meditation program proved to reduce the feelings of loneliness and self-doubt. Lengthens attention span. Focused attention meditation improves our attention span by increasing the endurance and strength of our attention. Evidence has shown that participants in a study showed an improvement in their ability to maintain and reorient their attention. It has been observed that people who regularly practice mindfulness meditation can stay focused on a task for a long period of time. Even 4 days of meditation resulted in an improved attention span. In a group of people, meditation can improve attention span and hence helps in performing better at tasks. Generates positive feelings. There are types of meditation which particularly focus on generating positive feelings and emotions. One such type is known as metta, which is also called the loving-kindness meditation. Initially, it involves developing positive and kind thoughts and feeling towards our own self. Gradually, meditation begins to focus on directing these positive thoughts toward others. Various studies have shown results that prove how this meditation helps in increasing people's compassion towards others. The more positive feelings that we experience, the more satisfied we become. Harboring positive emotions and feelings is part of the success mindset that leads to a happy and successful life. Improves sleep. Meditation reduces background noise and stress. Usually, our sleeping patterns are disturbed due to stress. One study compared the sleeping patterns of people who practiced meditation with a group of people who did not meditate. It was observed that the group which meditated fell asleep sooner than the other group. The former group was also able to enjoy a longer duration of peaceful sleep. Meditation helps in releasing the tension in the body which initiates sleep. Coping with pain. How we perceive pain is highly dependent on our mental state. During the periods of high stress, we feel greater pain. As meditation helps in stress reduction, it also results in less sensitivity to pain. It was revealed in a study that meditation resulted in decreased complaints of intermittent and chronic pain in the participants. Hence, meditators acquire a greater ability to cope with pain and consequently show greater resilience in challenging situations. Talk to people. When feeling overwhelming emotions, our first response is to bottle up our feelings. It is not a healthy thing to do as it causes harmful effects in the long run. If we are facing some issues, it is always advised to take help. If the issues are related to some person or to what they have done, it is best to resolve the issue by talking it out. When we let negative emotions stay with us for a long while, they begin to become a part of our personality. We need to let go of things, and to let things go we need to talk about them. We should build a supportive and friendly social circle which can provide us with the emotional support that is needed in the emotionally challenging times. If we are stressing about an exam or a project, talking to a friend or a colleague who can view our situation with a third-person perspective can help in clearing our mind. Social support plays a vital role when it comes to mental health. It is the reason why a lot of emphasis is being put on mental health on social platforms. Take professional help. Friends and family can walk us through the little issues and problems. If we are facing some serious mental health issues such as depression and anxiety, then it is best to take professional help. Treatment of mental health issues is often tabooed in many societies. The social stigma of mental illness stops many people from going to a professional, which ultimately leads the problem to grow. There are no checkboxes that you need to tick before you start taking professional help. You can go to a professional at any point you feel the need to. Following are the few advantages of professional help/therapy that we should consider. It improves the quality of our life. It helps in reducing the symptoms of depression, stress, anxiety, and other mental health issues that can disrupt our normal life. Mental health issues can be severely destructive to our personal interactions. Therapy helps us in coping with our symptoms, and that gives us more emotional space to be there for the people in our life. It improves our performance at school, college, or work. If we're taken over by stress and anxiety, it is not easy to focus on the task at hand. Therapy helps us in managing these symptoms and thus betters our performance. Untreated mental illnesses also lead to chronic physical illnesses. For instance, increased stress can lead to heart diseases and ulcers. To preserve our physical health, we should take care of our mental health too. Group therapies like support groups can introduce us to people who are going through the same issues as us. It can help us in relating to other stories and learning from them. It reduces the feelings of loneliness and offers fresh perspective to our problems. It can give us the strength and support that we need for recovering. Eat a brain-healthy diet. Diet can also adversely affect our mood. We should eat a diet that supports strong mental health. An unhealthy diet such as with loads of sugars and oil can take a toll on our mood, and it can also disrupt our sleeping patterns. Both these factors play a major role in our mental health. There are foods that are recommended to boost mood such as beans, fatty fish, avocados, nuts, fresh fruits, etc. Sleep and relax. While tackling mental illnesses, people often go to sleep while worrying and stressing. For most of us, the time before sleep is spent while overthinking and overanalyzing situations. If we incorporate a relaxation ritual before sleeping, it will help us in releasing the tension as we go to sleep. It is not healthy to go to sleep with a lot of things on our mind. We need to use the night's sleep as the first step for a fresh start to the next day. Relaxation rituals can include different breathing exercises, meditation, or body scan exercise. All these activities help in activating the relaxation response. 3. Emotional health. The terms mental health and emotional health are often used interchangeably while they both have a few distinct differences. While mental health includes emotional well-being, it also revolves around our psychological and social well-being. Mental health mainly concerns how our mind processes the experiences and information. On the other hand, emotional health focuses on an awareness of emotions and the ability to manage these emotions. A balance between both is essential for a healthy lifestyle. How to improve our emotional health? Often, we ruin our relationships due to our destructive coping mechanisms and bottled up emotions. To maintain meaningful relations, we need to be aware of our emotions and should be able to express them. The following few habits can have a great positive impact on our emotional health. Meditation. As discussed earlier, meditation and yoga are helpful in maintaining physical and mental health. Various researchers have studied the positive effect of meditation on our emotional state. It is a great way to release stress from our body. Taking out time every day for meditation gives us an opportunity to get in touch with our inner self. Journaling. Journaling has been the most common habit that has always been adopted by great personalities such as Oscar Wilde, Winston Churchill, Mark Twain. While it is usually considered a great way to track our goals and strengthen our memory, it is also a tool for strengthening our emotional functions. We can write down our feelings and emotions in order to gain clarity about our thoughts and ideas. Journal is a great way to connect with our inner self. It has been proved that journaling is a stress management tool. A study showed that writing a journal regularly for a 4-month period resulted in improved liver functionality and lowered blood pressure in patients. Writing down our stressful experiences and emotions can be a healthy way to cope with them. Research has shown that expressing emotions through journaling helps people in adopting a more structured and rational thought process. It enables people to tackle their problems in a better way. Dr. Lieberman said, "Writing seems to help the brain regulate emotion unintentionally. Whether it's writing things down in a diary, writing bad poetry, or making up song lyrics that should never be played on the radio, it seems to help people emotionally." Hence, journaling can be a great habit when it comes to improving our emotional health. It's hard to say no because we are afraid of the consequences. We think that saying no is a rude answer, and hence, we keep on overextending ourselves for people. Gary Keller in his book The One Thing says, "Someone once told me that one yes must be defended over time by 1,000 no's." Even when it is important to be helpful to people, we must remember to prioritize our emotional health. The inability to say no puts us under a lot of burden and commitments which can adversely affect our mental state. Maintaining healthy boundaries in any relationship is healthy. Once we gather the courage to say no without sounding rude and selfish, people gradually begin to respect our boundaries. Dealing with distracting and destructive emotions. The author Susan David is an instructor of psychology at Harvard University. In her book Emotional Agility, she has shared various ways to sustain our emotional health by managing our emotions well. According to her, there are 2 types of people, i.e., bottlers and brooders. Bottlers tend to suppress the uncomfortable emotions rather than dealing with them. They try to sweep these negative emotions under the rug by distracting themselves with work such as making long to-do lists or checking the emails compulsively. More than once, I've met bottlers who find themselves, years later, in the same miserable job, relationship, or circumstance. They've been so focused on pushing forward and being a good doobie that they haven't been in touch with a real emotion in years, which precludes any sort of real change or growth. Susan David, on the other hand, brooders focus on their emotions so much that they cannot focus on anything else. According to Susan David, brooders pay too much attention to their internal chatter and allow it to sap important cognitive resources that could be put to better use with brooders. Emotions become more powerful in the same way a hurricane does, circling and picking up more energy with each pass. Both these coping mechanisms are unhealthy, as the longer we bottle or brood over the uncomfortable emotions, the stronger they become. In her book, Susan David has shared 4 ways to deal with these distracting and destructive emotions in a positive way. Name. In order to manage our emotions, we need to be aware of the full spectrum of our emotions. It can be done by naming and labeling them so that we can differentiate. For instance, we need to identify the difference between anger and sadness and boredom, as we often tend to confuse them. Whenever we feel an emotion, we should silently name it, like, "This one is insecurity," or "This one is uncertainty." Except, the second step is to embrace your emotions no matter how uncomfortable they are. It is not essential to feel good all the time. It is okay to feel sad, uncertain, and confused at times. To manage emotions, we need to make peace with the fact that it is okay to not feel our best all the time. Instead of fighting the emotions by bottling them, we need to face them and understand the cause to overcome it. Step out. Our emotions urge us to take immediate actions. For instance, when we are angry, we tend to express that aggression instinctively. In such circumstances, we should step out of our emotions for a while. We should label and accept the emotion and then imagine ourselves standing outside of our body while looking at our emotions rising and falling. We should then determine if the emotion is helpful or not. As Susan David puts it, stepping out means learning to see yourself as the chessboard, filled with possibilities, rather than as any one piece on the board, confined to certain preordained moves. Act according to your values. Once we step out of the emotion, we begin to see the situation with more clarity. It is time that we ask ourselves, if I react to this emotion, will I be acting according to my values? By getting in the habit of asking this question, every uncomfortable emotion becomes a reminder to live a purposeful life. 4. Social health. According to the World Health Organization's definition of health, social health is an important component of a person's well-being. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. It can be defined as a person's ability to form positive relationships with people and interact with them in a meaningful way. Our social health is dependent on how we connect with the people around us. Positive interactions can help us in reducing stress and having an emotional support system. Deborah Umberson and Jennifer Carras Montes talk about the various short and long-term effects of social health in their article Social Relationships and Health, a flashpoint for health policy. Studies have shown that the quantity, as well as the quality of social interactions, play a crucial role in determining a person's mental health, physical health, and health behavior. Various studies have shown that social relationships are directly related to mortality rates, as it was observed that people with the lowest level of social relations are more likely to die sooner than those with higher levels of involvement in social relations. In addition to this, it has been observed that supportive and positive social ties have a good impact on our physical health by reducing stress hormones, blood pressure, and heart rate. How to improve social health. Surround yourself with people that inspire and encourage positive change in your life. Build a team in which you can work together to support each other and build better lives. Avena Celeste. If we want to succeed in life, it is essential to work on building a positive social circle. Here are a few ways that can help us in improving our social health. Begin with self-care. While social health revolves around people, self-care is central to maintaining it. Until we learn to take care of ourselves, we cannot be a positive presence for the people around us. Healthy social relations are a two-way street, where we receive what we offer. If we are willing to be helpful and harmonious towards people, they will enjoy our company, and it will establish long-lasting bonds. People are more likely to enjoy your company. You would be joyous and supportive. Self-care needs a healthy mind, which creates a positive impact on the people we interact with. Self-care involves keeping in check our mental and physical health. We should choose activities that would nurture us mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. The given tips can prove to be helpful in practicing self-care. Self-care morning routine. Before we get entangled in the hassle of everyday life, we should take some time for ourselves at the start of our day. It can be done by following a morning routine which would freshen us up and prepare us emotionally and physically for a difficult day ahead. A morning self-care routine can include meditation, workout, and a few moments of reflection to gain clarity about our goals. Appreciate and reward yourself. While modesty is a positive trait, rewarding yourself for achievements is also important. Often in life, people have low self-esteem because they underestimate their achievements and efforts. Dr. Prem Jagyasi advises, instead of indulging in social comparisons, start comparing what you are today with what you were yesterday and the day before. This way, you will find positivity within and around you, which will inspire you to radiate it. Once we start focusing on our own growth and development, we begin to notice improvements in our personality. Giving ourselves a personal reward after a big achievement is essential, as it can make us happier. Talk to a therapist. In today's fast-paced world, we often have to go through rough patches of stress and anxiety. It can be either because of our personal life or work life. In such times, emotional support from friends and family is helpful. Still, it is advised to take help from a professional in order to cope with such challenges. Take a break. Life is thrilling when we are hustling. We often feel the adrenaline rush when working on new projects that we are passionate about. The effort and hard work always lead to success, but a break is always a necessity. No matter how much of a workaholic someone is, they always need some me time. Hence, it is smart to schedule your days off. Adding a day off to our calendar can give us some time away from work. We can use this time to relax and reflect. A break is never a waste of time as it helps us in regaining the lost motivation and freshens our mind. Positive self-talk. In order to emanate positive energy, we should use positive language for others as well as for ourselves. Oftentimes, we indulge in negative self-talk that results in low self-confidence. We begin to feel inadequate, which lowers our motivation. It is essential that we practice positive self-talk. The next time you are about to say, "I'm stupid," remember to replace it with "I'm going to learn this." It is the first step in developing a growth mindset. The evening routine. While morning routine is the ideal time to reflect on our goals, the evening routine is useful in evaluating our performance throughout the day. For a simple evening routine, we can jot down the 3 best things that happened throughout the day. In addition to this, we can write down the 3 worst things that happened and how they can be improved or avoided in the future. Good communication skills are the key. When it comes to expanding our social circle, communication skills play a pivotal role. Good first impressions are always the first step towards a long-term relationship. Everyone enjoys the company of people who are fun and easy to talk to. Our priority in every conversation should be to make the other person comfortable. Good communication skills lead to a meaningful conversation that further results in strong bonds and relations. These skills are both necessary for our work life as well as for our personal relationships. Given are the few tips that have proven to be helpful in developing good communication skills. Nonverbal communication plays a key role. Albert Mehrabian shared his research findings of nonverbal communication in his book Silent Messages. According to him, body language accounts for 55% of an audience's perception of a person or a performer. To communicate our ideas and thoughts with clarity, adopting a proper posture is essential. Maintaining eye contact and using hand gestures makes the conversation more interactive and interesting. We should avoid slouching and folding our arms as it counts as a defensive posture. Over-communication is better. In 1990, a Stanford graduate proved that performers and presenters often overestimate their audience's listening abilities. A study showed that over-communicating is useful to convey ideas with clarity. Hence, to make sure that people understand you well, focus on detail but crisp descriptions. Active listening. We are born with 2 ears to listen and 1 mouth to speak. There is a reason for that. To carry out meaningful conversations, we have to be good patient listeners. People enjoy talking to someone who is genuinely interested in knowing about them. First conversations are usually the most awkward. Hence, we can take a step forward by asking about the other person's interests. When people feel like their ideas are valued, they instantly feel more comfortable and interested in a conversation. Stop judging. If people do not feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and experiences with someone, they maintain a distance. When we judge people without understanding their situation, it puts them off. To come off as approachable, it is important to always present a positive outlook on things. We should listen to people intently without passing judgment. A piece of genuine advice is often welcomed while an instant judgment is hurtful. The basic step to nurture our relationships involves giving respect. Only then we can expect people to respect and care for us. In return, make time for friends and family. Investment of time and energy has the requirement of any commitment. Similar is the case in social relations. We need to take out time to spend with people to make strong bonds. It is best to plan activities and meetings with our friends and family. In this age of technology, keeping in touch has become easier as you can just drop a message to make sure that the other person is doing all right. Taking part in social activities can introduce us to new people, and thus regular participation can be helpful in expanding our social circle. Oh, wealth.